Well, we're going to dive right in today with the state of affairs that's been happening for a long time now. But a whole lot of it has come to our attention with the learning about all the fraud, learning about all the mosques that had been cropping up all in Texas and around. I didn't even know about Dearborn, Michigan until probably a year ago. I mean, so either maybe I have been under a rock, or I was still stuck in the old traditional news watching and didn't get the information I so desperately needed, like the rest of us. They were talking about that this morning. The mainstream media, the old school media, had for so long has left everyone in the dark. And then now with podcasters, a whole new set of media. We've got X. Thank God for Elon Musk for buying X. And a lot of this stuff we would have never known about. Like for years, I didn't know Dearborn, Michigan had already been taken over by Muslims. That didn't happen overnight. That's happened over the past 100 years. And nobody has said nothing about it. Nobody. Not a peep. Not a peep. They didn't talk about when Obama was bringing in, Obama or Biden, bussing in people or flying them in. And Obama said he wanted to transform America. He's bringing in the Somalis, the Haitians. Oh, God, they're eating the cats and dogs. And look what they've done. So you've got Ilmar Omar. She was imported in, I believe, from Obama. And then eventually, they built up this thing. Well, how the heck did she get elected? Because the Somalians are like clans. So these third world low IQ invaders, they have clan-like mentality. And this is what they do. And then what's the other thing they have in common? They all practice Islam. So we have woken up to a nightmare. Thank God for Donald Trump, because a lot of this is brought to our attention. Thank God for Nick Shirley for bringing all the fraud to our attention, because we know the mainstream media, and I'm throwing in Fox too. Screw Fox. So Fox as well. Okay, they have thousands of people and journalists. They did nothing to look into any of this fraud. Nick Shirley does it, and then boom, overnight, Trump sent in over 2,000 more people, ICE agents and people investigating the fraud. And what happened? We had 2 people killed. Not that we had 2 people killed. I think the left has the blood on their hands, because you had pretty good both shootings, which they both had no business being where they are, because they bought into the propaganda lie. They brought into the propaganda lie that ICE is bad, Orange Man is bad, and that we need these people here in our country. Here we have, is Islam. In Islam, you have to die for Allah. In Christianity, my God died for me. Now, I am really working hard on studying the Quran and learning. Now, like not studying hardcore, but I have tons and tons of notes, just trying to educate myself on a lot of this stuff. But this all ties into the illegal immigration, that we need a reverse migration. But what do all of these illegals have in common? 90% of them. Now, the Mexicans, granted, they're mostly Catholic. But all the rest of them are all Muslims. They're all Muslims. They all worship. Now, I had a thought, and I am going to post it, but I haven't posted it on X yet because, I don't know. It's probably very controversial. Let's designate Islam as a terrorist cult. Because look, they're bent on conquering. They're bent on conquering the world, subjugating us, or making us, by shaming us into paying Jesuit to them. We're going to be diving into some Islam and their goofy practices. But look, this is a jaw-dropping. Listen to this. Homeland Security Advisor Stephen Miller says ICE asked the illegals they detained if they were receiving Medicaid, and half said that they had been signed up for this. The illegals that didn't have it said they just go to the hospital and it was always 100% free. We found since President Trump came into office is that the Democrats have set up a system to funnel hundreds of billions and ultimately trillions of dollars to migrants that are in our country, oftentimes from places like Somalia. So, as an example, ICE recently asked a group of illegal immigrants that they were in detention whether or not they were receiving Medicaid. Half of them raised their hands and volunteered that they were on Medicaid. Just volunteered that these aren't the ones who are hiding it. They are asked legal aliens how they pay their medical bills, and they said that if they don't have Medicaid, that they just go to the hospitals, they get free care, and then they bill it to the taxpayers so they don't pay for any of their health care in this country. We've seen this over and over and over again. Democrats need to go to prison. I agree. I think it's wow. It's like the most treasonous thing that we've seen. And there's still more treason to come, guys. This just isn't not that.
But what we found since President Trump came into office is that the Democrats have set up a system to funnel hundreds of billions and ultimately trillions of dollars to migrants that are in our country, oftentimes from places like Somalia. So as an example, ICE recently asked a group of illegal immigrants that were in detention whether or not they were receiving Medicaid. Half of them raised their hands and volunteered that they were on Medicaid. Just volunteered that. These aren't the ones who are hiding it, right? They also asked illegal aliens how they paid their medical bills, and they said that if they don't have Medicaid, they go to hospitals, they get free care there, and they bill it to the taxpayers. So they aren't paying for any of their own health care in this country. This is one example. And we've seen this over and over and over again. So under President Trump's leadership, and then of course with JD and the head of the FTC, Andrew Ferguson, we are going to see the first ever effort in American history to reclaim the ultimately trillions of dollars that were stolen from taxpayers.
Wow. What an undertaking. And JD Vance has been put in charge. So what are they calling him? The fraud czar. But somebody needs to go to prison. This is beyond comprehension. And they've been doing this a long time, guys. This just didn't happen overnight. This was a well-oiled, tyrannical machine to destroy us from within. And then the genius part, the evil genius part is for us to fund our own demise. Unbelievable. What does he say? What does Congressman Brandon Grill say? Gill, I'm sorry, my apology. I wonder if he's related to that Gill, or is that some other guy? Congressman Brandon Gill, no country is obligated to import its own ruin. Apparently we have been, because of the left, because of the Democrats. They can't hate you enough. They can't hate Christians enough. They can't hate this country enough. Americans have every right to prohibit immigration from people who want to kill us. You will kill non-Muslims to receive 72 virgins in heaven. Quran. Look. 9/11. Look at that. You will kill anyone who leaves Islam. Quran 2:217. You can go look these things up. You will behead non-Muslims. Quran 8:12, 47. Look, it just goes on and on and on and on and on. These people want to kill you, want to subjugate you, and this is what they want to do to the whole entire planet. Why do you think we had the Crusades? To stop them. Designate Islam as a terrorist cult group of worldwide implications. Now, guys, I wrote this last night. Well, I thought of it last night. I was laying there, and it just hit me, this thought: designate Islam as a terrorist cult. Now, I'll probably say, well, Rochelle, that's just so radical. And that's, they have a right to their religion. This is not a religion. This is a cult-like government. Look at this. A religion isn't set up to kill and subjugate people. Are you kidding me? Or put a jizya on them. If you don't know what that is, that's a tax. You will terrorize non-Muslims, steal from non-Muslims, lie to strengthen Islam, which is called tequila. It's deception, and it's okay to do that. And my cat wants out. Oh, that she can't get out. That was quick. I'm back. Yeah, I forgot to leave the door cracked so she can come in and out because that's what she likes to do. Now, I was watching David Wood last night, and he was on, David Wood was on Hatun Tashs, DCCI Ministries channel. Y'all could go check that out. Let me move a little over so y'all could see Hatun Tashs. I'll try to remember to put the link in the description. David's on her show at least once a week, but David has his own show, Apologetics Roadshow. So I was watching this last night, and it was a really good show. They were talking about this right here, this guy. He's one of the Dawa guys, and he came up with some stupid game where she was asking questions, and then like what. One of the questions was a hadith, like what was something like what hadith concerned her the most or she liked or something to that effect. So she brings up some hadith that says that I'm going to paraphrase that Allah says either Allah or Muhammad, whatever, says in one of the hadiths that it's the woman, she can never do enough because it takes two women to make a brain of a man, right? They're considered next to dogs, right? A dog, a woman, a donkey can't walk in front of a man while he's praying. But she brings up a hadith that says, where a woman's asking in the hadith, what can I do if I don't want to marry, or if I do marry, or whatever the case may be. And it says, well, if you're married and your husband has pus sores from his feet to his head, and your wife licks them, it's still not enough. It's still not enough. It was disgusting, and she was saying she was disgusted or whatever, but it was crazy. But I recommend y'all go watch him. I mean, they've got a lot of interesting stuff, right? What they were talking about, and it's like, whoa, the Quran and the Hadiths are crazy. I'm just saying, insane. You want to hear something insane? What's this one I just wrote down yesterday? I think I have it up here. Let's see. I also had wrote it down. I also wrote that down. It's Quran 675. I have it here up on the screen. In my notes, it's a little shorter in my notes, of course, but this says, and indeed we adored the lowest heaven. We adorned the lowest heaven with stars like lamps and made them as missiles for stoning and eavesdropping on devils, for whom we have also prepared the torment of the blaze. What? So basically, stars are missiles that Allah uses to shoot at demons? I'm telling you, this stuff is crazy. Just crazy. The reason why I'm pulling up David is he said something last night, and he has said it before, and it just reignited me as well to start studying and looking. And I'm going to do as much as I can. I mean, I have a kid. I'm going to do as much as I can, incorporate it in the shows, because it has everything to do with the politics that's happening across America, and in fact across the world. And we've got another story I'm fixing to bring up for that. But David brought up, they need more people to combat Islam. More people talking about it. Now, I'm not saying that you get on and you be just hateful, and no, but you call it out. Just like me reading from the Quran, the craziness that goes on. And so it's not being Islamophobe. It's just learning what the Quran is teaching people. I mean, there is another one that says the sun sets in a muddy pool. Good God. You've got 86, chapter 6 through 7. Semen forms between the backbone and the ribs. This must be one of their scientific discoveries, which this is ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. A lot of the stuff I read here. The Quran, it affirms the Torah and the Gospel as divine revelation, which we've went over a lot of that. Which the Quran denies that the Jesus is divine from crucified, or is that the Son of God. These doctrines are central to the New Testament. They're central to us. But I can keep going on and on and on, but we're going to stick to the script that I have here in this stack of stuff. But David said this last night, and I was like, I thought, Lord, I'm going to try to incorporate it in my shows. If people watch, people watch. If one or two people get it and want to go start learning, and then they can start, and then it's just the domino effect of all of us getting knowledge of what is involved in the West. The Western civilization allowing Islam to take a foothold in our country and using our own constitution against us. This is why I say when I wrote we need to designate Islam as a terrorist cult. A terrorist cult, because they are set out to conquer. That's what they are set out to do. This guy here, if y'all see this on the screen, let me move over real quick. This Arda Zachariah 45 here. Well, what he says here, he sends in a super chat, and he says, Apologetic Roadshow, your wife will fall in love with a Muslim man. She will become a Muslim man's wife. And we know where you live, David. It's not a wise idea to mock our religion, just saying. So if y'all go watch this episode that was on last night, this guy also threatened Hatun. He says, remember what happened to you? Now, I think it's either in Britain or London. They got a place called Speaker's Corner where Muslims would show up, Christians would show up, and they would have debates. Somebody came up and stabbed her. The guy who stabbed her, he's in prison right now. I guess I'm assuming. I heard him mention it last night. But this guy's reminding her, remember what happened. So he's threatening her because David and Hatun are speaking out against Islam. And they've already sent messages to David's wife and stuff. But David's not scared, and neither is Hatun. They're sticking. They're like, hey, we're gonna talk about this. We're gonna bring this to people's attention. All right, this is sad. This is real sad. And this guy says, I feel sick to my stomach and can't sleep. Satan has captured our nation. And I believe they're in Britain. We have an evil, dishonest government in which the prime minister cannot tell the truth or answer questions at the dispatch box. The same prime minister is in love with the religion that seeks to subjugate our nation and whose followers have caused terrorism and rape of our girls and women. So, guys, we know he's talking about Islam. On Wednesday night, the House of Lords commended a grievous sin by allowing infanticide. My God. The bishops are weak and inadequate. The king is absent. God have mercy on us all. Judgment is coming. If you harm one of these little ones of mine, it is better that a millstone be hung around your neck and you be cast into the depths of the sea. Jesus Christ. So if you guys don't know what fantasy is, if you're not sure what that is, they've passed a bill that they're going to allow women and doctors, obviously, and nurses to murder a baby up at birth. Let that sink in. Up at birth. And what he's talking about up here too is that they've embraced a religion that seeks to subjugate our nation, whose followers have caused terrorism and rape of our girls and women, because they want to breed you out. That's what they want to do. They come in, they're playing nice, they're just super nice to you, right? And then boom. Once their numbers gets up, they start taking places in office. It's what they're doing here. It's a slow takeover, guys, but we have to stop it. We have to stop it now so we can look and see what's happening over there. And look, Muslims, Mexicans, they're Catholic, Muslims, they're not murdering their children in the womb. No, they're not. They want this. They probably voted for this. So you think, oh, there's a Muslim. They wouldn't vote for that. Oh, yes, they would. Because they have their own set of laws. They have their own set of Sharia law. So they have Sharia in their own communities. And they're going to tell their women, well, like a lot of them men have 3 or 4 wives, and they're having 2, 3, 4, 5 children per wife. You do the math. Women now are only having 1 to 2 children or none. So you do the math. One guy has 4 wives and she's having X amount of kids. Boom, you're done. You are done. This is why I said in previous shows we should put a restriction that they can only have 1 kid. And we better do something about it. They're going to breed us out. So Islam has their own governmental internal inside their own communities and stuff, and there is no way they're going to have abortions, but they would vote for white people and even black people to abort their children. Oh yeah, they're all for it. They're like, yeah, if a Muslim has a choice between conservative and a leftist to vote for, guess who they're going to vote for? They're going to vote for the leftists. And because they're just useful idiots. So once they're done using them up, guess what? They're gone. They'll kill them. They'll do away with them. It's called useful idiots. This is insane. This right here is insane that they voted to kill a baby right after it's been born. This is insane. The comment section is it is as if you are at war, but unlike any in UK history. It's true. They're in war inside. It's like the enemy is inside the gates, just like that congressman guy was saying that all week, this past week. And boy, he got reamed by a lot of the left, but I think there was more people on the right that stood by what he said when he said the enemies are inside the gate. They're in our house. They're in our house. This other person says, what is she saying? You are one of the reasons why British is deteriorating. You're supposed to be a man of God, yet you support child sacrifice Israel. Wow, this person is a leftist libtard. The hypocrisy is striking. You either care about all children or you care about none. Wow. So she's saying that this lie that Israel has committed all these genocide. Nobody's saying nothing about the Palestinians who came in on October 7th and brutally killed 1,200 people, murdered them, set them on fire, killed the children in front of their parents, women and children. Nope. That wasn't a genocide. No, but as soon as Israel retaliated back, all of a sudden it's a problem. I guess this is part of the end times, people. Right is wrong and wrong is right. When you're seeing the twisted of the truth or one-sided, like we know Hamas infiltrated Israel in one of the settlements and murdered like 1,200 people, massive people. Women and children, innocent civilians, not military objectives. These were innocent people. And then Israel retaliated back, as rightly so. But then all of a sudden it became a problem. And then all of a sudden you have this talking point that if you pay attention, it's like, well, Israel's just genociding. Well, genociding is wiping people out by the millions. and this is not what is happening. Wow. And this Reverend countered back and says, and you are currently unable to practice as a doctor because you support terrorism and the rape of women. You also spout utter nonsense about Israel. It is Hamas that sends children out to be shot. You should never be allowed to practice again. So this person here must be a doctor. Oh yeah, there it is, the doctor. Wow. And another thing that Hamas does and Islam does is from the time the boys are old enough, they are trained to hate Israel. They are trained to kill. They are trained soldiers. This is what they do. All right, we're moving along through the stack of stuff, guys. I absolutely love Victor Davis Hanson, by the way. If y'all don't know who he is, this is him right here. He is fabulous, just fabulous. I love him. Now, he's had some problems. I don't know if it was cancer or something in his lung, and he was out for a while. And y'all pray for him that he's going to be okay. I mean, I just love this man. And we can't lose any more of our elders. Like, he's like an elder to me, and that he's so wise, you know? And pray for Jordan Peterson as well. And Jordan Peterson needs to, look, I don't know if I'm the one that says he needs to, but pray that he publicly says Christ is Lord, because he hasn't done it yet. Now, he has shows on the Exodus, and they're just awesome, by the way. And he preaches at the Bible, he not preaches, but he talks and lectures the goodness of the Bible and the stories and all of this stuff, but he's never professed it. With his lips, I have not heard him say this. So, Victor Davis Hanson, he says, we are watching the greatest counter-revolution in 90 years. So, guys, we are living in it. It's a crazy time to be alive. It truly is. I hope that's big enough for you guys to see. Do I need to make that just a little bigger? Maybe I can come over and do that just so y'all can see that, and so, at least so I can read it as well. My eyes! Victor Davis Hanson just put the Trump era in its proper historic context, and the scale of what he's describing should stop you cold. The last time America saw a president attempt to fundamentally restructure the nature of government was Franklin Roosevelt from the left during the New Deal in the 1930s. What Trump is doing from the right is that's consequential, not a policy adjustment, not a podium swing, a structural counter-revolution. This is interesting. The border is closed, DEI is being dismantled, and Trump is winning the argument publicly. Iran no longer poses a nuclear threat for the foreseeable future. Universities are competing with each other to cut deals with the administration rather than defy it. Thank God. The institutions that enforce left-wing ideology dominance for decades are retreating on multiple fronts simultaneously. Y'all keep praying, just keep praying. But Hanson's most important insight is the most about power. The left exercises power even when they control nothing. No White House, no Congress, no governorship. They do it through universities, through media, through HR departments, through accelerated bodies. Through regulatory agencies, through the permanent bureaucracy. They impose an agenda that the majority of Americans oppose on immigration, on DEI, on gender ideology, on crime, because they captured the institutions that don't require winning elections. And boy, it's been masterful. It has been masterful. They did it while we slept. We let it happen, guys. We let it happen when they took God out of school. We let it happen when Jimmy Carter created the Department of Education. And I don't know why Reagan didn't do anything about it. Yeah, I'm mad at Reagan. Why didn't he do something about it? Why didn't he foresee this to be a danger, to a detriment to America? For Pete's sake, I thought he always said we were the shining city on the hill. But did he? I mean, somebody let me know. Maybe he did say something about it. Why didn't he? Didn't he have control of everything? Why didn't he just dismantle it and say, no, we don't need it. We went 100 years without it. What Trump is doing is attacking those institutions directly, and that's why the reaction is so unhinged. This isn't Democrats upset about losing an election. This is an ideological class watching the infrastructure of their unelected power is dismantling in real time. And boy, they are doubling down too. They're doubling down. They're getting on and say, oh no, women won't be able to go vote. It's so stupid. And even blacks have come out and said, what, do y'all think we're retarded? We don't know how to go get a driver's license? Yeah, they are so racist. It's unbelievable. Hanson's warning is worth heeding. Brace yourself. The resistance is coming and will be frantic and fierce precisely because the stakes are essential for the left's ability to govern from the shadows. They know if this counter-revolution succeeds, they'll have to actually win elections to impose their agenda. And they know they can't. Now, look, Spineless Burger lied to get her elected. And I always been saying this. I think they cheated. I think they cheated to get her elected. Because Deb blame. Now, a lot of people think, well, because they put up Winston, and Winston wasn't a strong candidate, but God, she was better than Spinberg. I think they cheated. So this is so important. Why we need an ID for people to vote, to know the illegals aren't voting, and no more paper ballot votes. We need the watermark votes, so it's harder to cheat. And this is what needs to definitely happen. Let's hear Victor in his own words.
We're watching the greatest counter-revolution in some 90 years. We have not seen any president try to radically change the political calculus and the nature of government since FDR did it from the left during the New Deal of the mid-1930s. And what do I mean by that? Donald Trump closed the border. He's basically declared war on DEI, and he's winning that argument. Abroad, we see that Iran no longer poses a nuclear threat for the immediate future. The universities are rushing and competing with each other to cut a deal with Donald Trump. Trump is winning on all of these social and cultural issues. What he's trying to do is tell the American people that the left exercises power even when they do not control government, any branch of government, and they exercise power even though on most of the issues, if not all of them, their constituency is only 40%. The majority of the American people oppose their agenda. We're going to see in the next year a frenzy, a frantic, almost out-of-mind reaction from the left, because they know that if this counter-revolution succeeds, it'll be very difficult for them to push down an unpopular agenda down the throat of the American people. So brace yourself. We're looking at the resistance coming up to the counter-revolution, and it's going to be fierce and unhinged. We're watching.
Well, I think also they're going to lie to get in office as well. I think that what did they call him, a centrist or a right of the fence Democrat? Rhinos. They called them rhinos. This is why probably McCain didn't get elected, because he's always, I'm going to reach over the aisle. I mean, it gets on my nerves. It's like, why did we pick him to be and he wins the primary to go against Obama? Unbelievable. Because rhinos aren't going to work, but they could practice tequila just like the Muslims do. They're going to lie to you to get elected. I mean, I think Spinberg, I think she lied. And look, she's taxing everything under the sun in Virginia. I think you guys in Virginia need to go around and get a petition to have her oust her, because she lied. Y'all need to get thousands and thousands and thousands of signatures and film the whole thing. That she needs to go. Will any American mosques condemn this? Like, all the terrorist attacks that we had, not one mosque come out and condemn the attacks. Because they're like, in the name of Allah, they're screaming Allah Akbar and then going killing people. And always remember, guys, and I learned this last week, that during Ramadan, when they do acts for Allah in the name of Allah, supposedly they get greater rewards in their afterlife. It's insane. I know this. It's just insane. But apparently that's what it is. And now you know. You know. I ain't making this stuff up. I'm just trying to educate myself. Educate myself on the craziness.
You force important conversations, and that's exactly what I'm doing. You know, as chairman of the Homeland Cyber Subcommittee, I get classified briefings that many, quite frankly, most members of Congress don't get. And I have access to information that most Americans will never see. And we have an issue here in this country that we have to address. So even in my own district, in the South, the conservative South, a red state, I've got a flyer from a mosque in Nashville that talks about the justifications for violence in the community for warfare. So these aren't my words. These are simply their words. And we have to talk about that. Look, I'm willing to have any conversation with any individual from any faith or background that wants to talk about peace, that wants to talk about how great America is. But now let's go back over the last 3 weeks. We've had 4 terror attacks. We had the Michigan car situation incident. We had the 2 shootings, one in Texas, one in Virginia. You had the bombs in New York. I literally just checked AI, and not a single mosque from across this country has called out, made an official statement against those acts of violence. We have to address this. When you take the oath to become a citizen in this country, you take an oath to America, America first. And that is the conversation that we must have.
Look, the mosques, the imams, they're not going to stop doing what they're doing, because this is what the Quran and all their hadiths compel them to do. They are compelled to follow the Quran, to follow the teachings of Muhammad, to conquer the world. Slaying the Jews, slaying the Christians, subjugate them, conquer the world. So no, there's over 300 some mosques just in Texas. Not one come out, and we're not talking about any other mosques that are. There's mosques all over the country, by the way. Not one of them denounced this. No, they're glad. They're glad. In fact, they know just what I told y'all a minute ago. You commit these atrocities in the name of Allah to further Islam, you're going to get greater rewards. This is what they do. It's a good day to rid ourselves if Islam, who's got the balls to implement the following. What he's saying, it's a good day to rid ourselves if Islam. Designate Islam as a political ideology. Remove any religious protections. Remove any and all tax breaks. I agree. I think they should need to be designated a terrorist an organization. Allah Akbar, and then they go kill people. Ban Sharia law, ban halal slaughter. Like, what is happening with that? And nobody's doing nothing about it. Have y'all seen images? I don't think I put it in my stack of stuff, but they had images of people having meat. Halal, I guess, is they have to have, I don't know if it's an imam or somebody, they pray over it and they kill the animal, pray over it, and then they take it to wherever they're going to eat, right? So there were pictures of like U-Haul trucks and other vehicles with meat just piled up in the back and just taken, not boxed up, not refrigerated. It was disgusting. And this is happening in a lot of cities across America, and nobody's doing nothing about it. So if one of us Americans were selling food on the side of the road like that, we'd be fined and probably thrown in prison. This isn't sanitary. Quit giving them refugee cash assistance. Quit giving them refugee medical assistance. Quit giving them cash welfare. Quit giving them SNAP food stamps. Quit giving them Social Security for the elderly or disability. Quit giving them fake daycare centers. Quit giving them fake hospice centers. Quit giving them fake autism centers. I can't even talk. And my personal favorite, stop importing Muslims. Wow. I guess Barack Hussein Obama, which he is Muslim, guys, stop it. He's the one that did a lot of this and set him up in different. I always wondered why certain sects of people from different countries were put in different cities. Like you have Haitians in one, you got Somalians in another. I mean, it's because they're clan-like. They're going to build into the community, and then boom, they start getting elected, and they're going to vote for this person, either from the mayor up to city council, and just work their way up. Yesterday's show, we had a Somalian was a senator. For Pete's sake, it's ridiculous. The clearest proof that Muhammad has replaced Allah in Islamic practical theology lies in Islam's own theotology, if I even said that right, serotology, its doctrine of salvation. Ask this. Well, that's exactly what serotology means. It means doctrine of salvation. Ask this. Why are Jews and Christians, both whom worship the God of Abraham, classified as kafar, infidels under Islamic law? Why is this? Theologically, this makes no sense. Jews affirm the oneness of God, reject ideology, and follow a divine moral code. So why are they damned in the Quran? Why are they cursed in the Hadiths? Why are they to be fought, humiliated, and subdued? It's because they try to twist to say the Christians, no, the Jews don't. The Jews don't think the Messiah has even come yet, right? Jesus is just a prophet. But the Christians believe God, the Father, and the Holy Spirit. We believe in the Trinity, and we believe that it's one God, but three with individual, I guess, characteristics, if you want to call it that. But the Muslims, and I've been seeing this in a lot of debates, the Muslims want to say that, oh, you guys believe in multi-gods because we're saying Jesus is God, the Father's God, the Holy Spirit is God. So this has been their argument for us, by the way, for us. The answer is brutally simple: because they reject Muhammad. We reject Muhammad. Not because they worshiped a false god, not because they invented idols, but because they refused to recognize him. Well, as we talked about, if, let's see here. There's a paradox. If the Bible is true and perceives that the Quran contradicts and it cannot be divine, if the Bible is correct, then the Quran is false for affirming it as trusted worthiness. So the Quran confirms the Torah and the scriptures. They call it the book. They confirm it. So if they're saying, no, your books are corrupted, but it was confirmed, these books were written before the Quran, then the Quran is false. But if the Quran says, yeah, they're confirmed by Allah, then yeah, then our books, the Torah and the Bible, the scriptures, makes Quran false. So either way, the Quran is false. There's no getting around it. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the dilemma. It is a dilemma. Let's see, because they do command that the Jews and the Christians to judge by their own scriptures. The Quran denies that Jesus is divine and he was crucified. They're saying somebody else was crucified in his place, that Allah made it happen. Like Allah saved Jesus. Which we believe that Jesus died and his blood shed saves us. So the Quran is false. This reveals the heart of Islamic theology. Salvation is not ultimately about Allah. It's about allegiance to Muhammad. As I said in the previous post, Muhammad is not merely the messenger. He is the message. Islam claims to be a monotheist religion centered on submission to one transcendent deity, but in practice, the deity is silent, terrifying, and unknowable. Muhammad, on the other hand, is intimidated and ever present. He is the lens through which Allah is understood, the filter through which every verse is interpreted, the moral and legal template for the entire Imam. He becomes the fractured center of Islam's religious universe. Rejecting Allah is almost abstract, but rejecting Muhammad is what actually makes someone an enemy, a target, an apostate, or an infidel. His person becomes the dividing line between salvation and damnation. This is why Muslims believe even the most devout Jew and morally upright Christian is designated for hell. Because in Islam, moral clarity, monotheism, or good works, none of it counts unless you submit to Muhammad. His name must be on your lips. His example must be your law. His honor must be defended with your blood. This is theological imperialism centered around a man. The Shada, the Islamic Declaration of Faith, exposes this plainly. It doesn't just say, there is no God but Allah. That would be purely monolithic. It must include, and Muhammad is the messenger of Allah. Without that second part, you're not a Muslim, you're not saved, you're not condemned. No biblical prophet ever demanded this. Moses never said, believe in me or be damned. Isaiah never taught that rejecting him personally would lead to eternal fire. John the Baptist pointed out from himself. Even Jesus said, I do not seek my own glory. And I don't know if y'all watched my show yesterday when I was reading where it was saying that Allah was praised. He's like the worshipped and the worshiper all at the same time. It was insane. Muhammad inserts himself at the center of cosmic judgment. And that way, Islam is not just submission to God, it is submission to a man. I mean, I think, I made some notes when I read this earlier. So Muhammad's just this guy in the desert. There's trade routes, there's stuff going on. This is my own thoughts, guys. But he's listening to stories of Jewish, non-Jewish people that know all of these stories, like, because they've been just telling stories of Moses and Abraham and all these different stories of Jesus and stuff like that. So I'm assuming, and I'm probably right, that he inserted himself as to be like Jesus. So he's mirroring the prophet Jesus, the Messiah. And that's what he's doing. That's what I put in my notes. They seem to make Muhammad like Jesus. Muhammad mirrors Jesus. There's another thing too. Here, let me bring this up. Now, as we were just reading, is that we had to, they want you to focus on Muhammad. You have to identify with Muhammad. It's not like, what is Allah, a side note or whatever. But look, this is narrated by Aisha. Aisha was married by Muhammad when she was 6. They consummated the marriage when she was 9. And that's a whole nother show, because good God. She says magic was worked on Allah's messenger so that he used to think that he had sexual relations with his wives while he was actually had not. Sayan said, this is the hardest kind of magic as it has such an effect. Then one day he said, oh, Aisha, did you know that Allah has instructed me concerning the matter I asked him about? 2 men came to me, and one of them sat near my head and the other sat near my feet. The one near my head asked the other, what is wrong with this man? The latter replied, he is under the effect of magic. The first one asked, who has worked magic on him? And the other replied, Lebed ben Alasam, a man from Bina Zakwai, who was an ally of the Jews and was a hypocrite. The first one asked, with what did he work the magic? The other replied, with a comb and the hair struck to it. The first one asked, where is that? The other replied, in a skin of pollen of a mandate palm tree kept under a stone in a well of Darwin. So the prophet went to that well and took out those things and said, that was the well which was shown to me in a dream. Its water looked like the infusion of henna leaves, and its date palm trees looked like the heads of devils. The prophet added, then that thing was taken out. I said to the prophet, why did you not treat yourself with nausea? He said, Allah has cured me. I dislike to let evil spread amongst my people. So there were some debates as well. Was Muhammad possessed? Now Aisha wrote this. Now, if somebody's possessed, they're writing magic. So magic was put upon him, or something. So would you think that this gobbledygoo he's talking about? Look, a lot of the demons, they don't know the future. They know the past. So they could be telling him stuff. I mean, who helped him write the Quran? He couldn't read or write. He had one of his best buddies, I forgot what his name was, started helping him write. They started to write before he died. Then they started compiling stuff even after he died. So everything's all gobbledygoo. Apparently some goats. Aisha said the goats ate some of the stuff. So this is insane, guys. So to me, reading this, maybe he was possessed and coming up with all of this goofy stuff. So if it's all about him, it's all about him, right? So from what this guy is saying, what his take is that, you're not looking at Allah, you're looking at Muhammad. You got to focus on Muhammad. Now, wouldn't Satan be doing that? Focusing on himself, praising himself. In the Quran, it praises himself. Allah's praising himself, worshiping himself. It's crazy. Wow. That's just insane. This is interesting. The very name Islam is submission, belies what the Muslim faith really is, an ideology of conquest. Consider the core tenets of Islam, the ones that its adherents are constantly reminding us all. Islam will take over the world. Non-believers are second-class slaves. Women are inferior. Girls are property. Apostates will be murdered. Deception of non-believers is moral. Christians of Islam is a capital offense. This is not just another religion. Islam incentives that basis of men's instinctive, the instinctives that civilized men, real men, seek to control: their lust, their power over the weak, their greed for the unearned. This should not come as a surprise to anyone. Even a consensus review of history reveals Islam's modus operandi: terrorists, invade, convert by force, enslave, rape, murder. And consider this. How can an ideology that promises martyrisms of 72 virgins would be anything other than a scam to enlist weak and stupid men in a conquest for dominance? I agree. I guess you have to keep people dumbed down. David was also talking about in the show I watched last night, where he was saying for centuries nobody knew what the Quran was. Now you can get online, you can go buy your Quran. It's been translated. You can get the translations and look, don't let them try to fool you and say, well, it's been translated in English. You have to read it in Aramaic and for it to understand it. No, that's BS. Don't even listen to that gobbledygook. You're getting the legit core of even the basic stuff I've been going over of what Islam is all about. It's insane. And what is the Christian's purpose to get to heaven? It's because we love Jesus and we want to serve Jesus. It's not that we want to get to heaven so he can serve us, that we are unworthy, and that we're going to get virgins and stuff. What do women get? This is only for men. Oh, what if he's married? Apparently, Christians, we believe you go to heaven, we get a new name, we get a new body. Why do we need? What are they obsessed with sex for? Are you kidding me? You just going to spend eternity doing the nasty? That doesn't make sense to me. It's disgusting. Wow, we got through the stack of stuff pretty quick, guys. And then I've got another kind of a fun thing that has to do with politics. And we're going to wrap it up with that. So here we have Dan Bernino. Who is Dan Bernino? I came across this CEO, IDI Center, bestseller author, Islam, Israel, and the West, Middle East Affairs, Political Theology, Judeo-Christian Views. He says views are my own. But I came across this today, and I read it, and I was like, wow, this is really good. Now, I think I watched one or two of the Lord of the Rings, and I remember watching the Lord of the Rings, the animated ones, back in the day, man, back in late 70s or mid 70s or whatever. I was a kid, but I remember watching it. It was interesting. My precious. And then we all seen The Hobbit. There's a couple of I just wasn't a big fan of the Lord of the Rings, but I thought the animated one was pretty good. I think as the series went on, I lost interest. Maybe the movies were too long. I don't know. But I like the comparison that he gives. That maybe what was interesting is that if you watched Lord of the Rings, you could understand, you could see the comparison and how it relates in the context of Islam. Islam in the West is the ring of power in the Lord of the Rings. Everyone thinks that they can handle it. They think they can use it, moderate it, integrate it, tame it, or negotiate with it. I'm going to disagree with that, because I think these leftists like Biden, Kamala Harris, Obama, they want us to implode. They knew this would transform America. Obama said that we're going to transform America. We're going forward. We're not going back. This is what they wanted to happen. So they could spread their numbers. They could push abortion. They could push their ideology, push the woke agenda, keep American white people from wanting to get married, mutilate our children. Guys, you name it. It was just one hammer after another to deter you, Americans, and even black Americans too, to deter you from reproducing and living a godly Christian life. What better way to import a terrorist, which I don't even call it a religion. Islam is a terrorist organization. It's an organization. That's what it is. Let's see. The ring serves only one master, and it is not the one wearing it. As long as the West thinks it can use Islam, Islam ends up using the West. I think a lot of us are smart enough to know that it can't, but we have a lot of dumb people who are just falling for the BS that the left, like what's his name was saying, Victor Davis Hanson was saying, well, even though they don't have full power, they still have media. They still have a way. They have radio. They still have a way to get their message across. And they're not fully out of the schools. And they're not fully out of the colleges yet. But as long as Trump keeps pounding that hammer, like, we're not going to give you any money, you better knock it off. You better knock it off. Just like the ring amplifies the worst impulses of the one who carries it, Islam reshapes whatever institution allows it inside. This is true, because they want to reshape America to have Sharia law. So then if you impose Sharia law, then you can be stoned, killed, thrown in prison, taxed. If you speak against the prophet, you can't say anything about the prophet, or you'd probably be killed. Human rights language becomes a shield of illiberal politics. Free speech norms become a platform for anti-free speech doctrines. Again, Sharia law, you can't talk bad about the religion. Religious liberty becomes legal cover for parallel legal systems. Democracy becomes a staircase to end democracy. This is the rule of the ring. Whoever tries to wield it eventually becomes its servant. So again, I think once they establish a foothold and keep growing and growing and growing, they will take over. They could become president. Guys, if we keep on this way, and probably in the next 25 years to 30 years, I won't be alive. I don't think I'm going to live 100 years old. They will take over. If we keep this trajectory, of us not having children, and the Muslims keep having children, and look, just in Britain, they're like, in the UK, they're like, yeah, you can kill your baby once it's born. You could carry it until it's born. And then we're going to kill it. It's unbelievable. God have mercy. Even the well-intentioned fall, especially the well-intentioned. Wow. Happy mouse. The West keeps trying different strategies. Support moderates, integrate communities, counter the extremists, not the ideology. Dialogue would soften them. No, it won't. Maybe they don't really mean what they say. Yes, they do. If they say they're going to kill the infidels, they're going to kill the infidels. Economic uplift will change their worldview. Second and third generations will modernize. No, it's not true. It's not true. We have a decade or more of Haitians and Somalians that are still practicing Islam, and they're still on welfare. They're still sucking the system dry. Every one of these in the council of Enron arguing that maybe someone somewhere might use the ring differently. Did I say that wrong? Ilrod. They're like, you disgraced the ring. By Tolkien's world and Islam world share the same truth. You can't reform an object built from domination. You can't tame an ideology constructed from supremacy. The ring can't be debated, reasoned with, or negotiated into moderation. It's true. You're not going to change Islam, ever. It was forged for one purpose. It was forged for one purpose, and it retains that purpose regardless to who wears it. Islam is the same. The only way to destroy the ring is to take it back to the place where it was forged, the fires of Mount Doom, and burn it into its original source. The same is true for Islam. You can't defeat it with counterterrorism alone. You can't defeat it with border policy alone. You can't defeat it with intelligent operations alone. You can't defeat it through elections, speeches, or interfaith dinners. You must go to its Mordor, its theology, its text, its jurisprudence, its political creed, its doctrinal foundations, and you must burn it there. Confront the doctrine of jihad, expose the political blueprint, discredit the historical narrative, challenge the legal theory that divides humanity, break the ideology, agriculture, expose its master. Only then does the ring lose its power. Everything else is delay. The danger is not extremists. The danger is in believing you can harness extremism with your benefit. Like the ring. Hold up. Islam corrupts even those who oppose it. It drags the sinner towards its worldview. It forces institutions to accommodate its demands. It shapes the political discord through intimidation, guilt, or demographic leverage. Look, during Ramadan, I seen some videos. I might have had it, but we're going too long today. But there was a couple of schools that were saying kids couldn't have water or a snack in the classroom because there was Muslim kids in the class. So really, he's saying through shapes like political discord, through intimidation, guilt, or demographic leverage. So, there's Muslim kids in here. Oh, I'd have been pissed. I'd have been calling that school. My kid's eating his snack. I don't know what you're talking about. That kid, if there's one or two Muslim kids in the classroom, they can go to another classroom while those kids are having snacks. I don't care. I mean, come on, people. The ring does not want to be hidden. It wants to be worn. Islam does not want to coexist. It wants to rule. This is so good. There is no path to victory that avoids the mountain. There is no shortcut around theology. There is no peace purchased through appeasement. There is no safety in pretending the ideology is harmless. There is no future if you refuse to confront the source of the problem. Look, Christians are never going to submit or subjugate to Islam. Never. True Christians will not deny Christ. Ever. We will die before we do that. We will die to defend it. And apparently they'll kill us to defend theirs. The West keeps walking in circles around Mount Doom, hoping for an easier route, but there isn't one. If you want to destroy the ring, you must go to Mordor. If you want to combat Islam, you must confront its theology. That is the fire in which ideology was forged, and that is the only fire in which it can be destroyed. This was amazing. This was an amazing analogy. I loved it. If y'all want to know where I was getting some stuff, is go to Quran.com or find another one. I'm going to look into it more to understand more how to read this. So you have it in, and you've got over here, you can have it in different languages as well. So yeah, so that's where I was getting a lot of stuff as well, trying to research this stuff. I don't sympathize with this guy in this first paragraph. I mean, he says, I am never happy criticizing Islam. I don't find it distasteful, or I don't find it that it makes me happy. I'm not happy to do it, and I'm not discouraged not to do it. It doesn't make me whatever, all the feelings. It's like, okay, well, these are facts, and here they are. You, as an individual, decide. That's what Christianity is all about. Islam is not. Islam is to subjugate you, to force you, or you die by the sword. Christianity, Christ is like, you know, you come to me or you don't. You have free will. You could go do whatever you want. Obviously, if you're not hurting anybody, because the laws of the land. But y'all get the point. He says, I am never happy criticizing Islam. I don't think it's making me happy, guys, to do it. It's just telling you what I'm reading. I'm figuring out. With every post I make, every article I publish, every interview I give, I wrestle within myself. The world is cruel and it needs more kindness, and it saddens me that I cannot contribute more of it. I don't know about all that, but you got to just tell the truth. I mean, I don't know why it saddens him. Islam is not peaceful at all. If Islam were confined to a certain geographic, I wouldn't concern myself with it. If Islam were reformable, if it were possible for an open, high, trusted society to survive it, I wouldn't risk my life or waste my energy discussing this backward, dark ideology. I'm glad he did point out a high trust society, because that's what we are, and they're taking advantage of this is what the Somalians are doing. High trust society with high IQ, inviting low IQ, low trust societies, and what do? We get fraud, and we try to get a takeover of their psychotic, delusional religion. I hate calling it a religion. I'm going to think of a more better term. But the problem is that Islam is none of these things. Islam is a expansionist ideology that wherever it exists, erases individual liberties. And with that, it destroys creativity and prosperity. So they're expansionists. What we have witnessed in the West since October 7th has been a revelation. Islam has been rebranded using a narrative that frames Israel and the West as the cause of the violence and bigotry inherent in the political ideology given in it the space it expands. And I think that is done by design by the left. And they've done a great job. Because look, I don't know what happened to Tucker Carlson. I guess when guys, y'all can go research it. He, in a video, I watched the video with my own two eyes. My own two ears. He said a demon scratched him in the middle of the night. And it wasn't his dog. His dog sleeps in the bed with him and his wife. He got scratched by a demon. Ever since, guys, I don't know what's up with him, but he's attacks Israel constantly. Constantly. There's something wrong with him. Candace Owens, you got Megyn Kelly. None of them want to denounce Hamas. They just attack Israel. Well, I'm not a anti-Zionist just because I disagree with the Israeli government. It's like it's always a butt monkey, right? On why you're saying what you're saying. but I can see right through their BS. They've got these huge platforms. They came across as conservative Christians, and now they've turned the script. They did a 180. They did a 180, my guy, and they are not Christians. They are not your friend, and you should not trust them. That's Candace Owens, Tucker, what do they call him? Katarison? Yeah, you can't trust them. That is why it is a moral obligation to stand against its expansion, to educate decision makers about the threat it poses to the West, and to ensure that the church, which plays a decisive role in shaping U.S. political directions, is equipped with the right tools and not deceived by false narratives. For years, probably for generations, the church has been told, oh, you should mix church and state, which it never says that in the Constitution. It never says that in the Constitution to do that. But if you're a Christian, obviously you need to render to Caesar what is Caesar's, but we can play a huge role in helping elect people who reflect the will of the people. Committing to moral obligations is a discipline that brings no earthly pleasure. I find no pleasure in combating Islam. However, I can't live with myself if I choose to live a quiet, normal life while knowing that I might be able to make a difference, even if I am not very optimistic. Well, I am optimistic. He says Islam invasion. I really like him on X. He says so true. At the other hand, going against Islam is to promote kindness. It's sad that we must be combative, that we can't just sit back and have a sincerity or kindness, serenity and kindness. We must fight for it because it is about to be taken away from us. Look, you can't be kind with these people. They can pull tequila on you. Tequila, T-A-Q-I-Y-Y-A, which is they can lie to your face. This is what they're taught. They teach their kids from a young age to hate the non-believers, that they are the chosen. Basically, I guess they're saying they're chosen by Allah to spread Islam, to spread Muhammad's word. Nick Musu posted this, Marudo posted this, and there it is. The investigation predated his resignation. Joe Kent was under fire, so he was trying to get ahead of it by appealing to morons. So if y'all don't know who he is, he was one of Trump's advisors. Apparently, he just had an interview with Tucker Katarson. It's hilarious. Explosive show by Takot reports that 4 sources confirm that former U.S. counterterrorism chief Joe Kent is under FBI investigation for leaking. The investigation apparently predates his sudden resignation yesterday, which this was posted on the 8th. Well, this was posted on the 18th. So yesterday on the 17th, we got this letter. He posted a letter. They were talking about it on the radio. Everybody's been talking about it, and everybody's been jumping on it. And then I said yesterday a brief message of this guy being a Benedict Arnold. And I think he's part of, let's get this conspiracy Tory. I keep saying I need to make me a tinfoil hat. Let's get the tinfoil hat on. He's part of a conspiracy to undermine the Trump administration. Because just what we talked about with Victor Davis saying, this is a counter-revolution that we're witnessing. And it's going to get brutal because the left... Guys, look at all the corruption, the fraud, trillions upon trillions of dollars from all. Have y'all not seen Nick Shirley's videos that he just posted about the corruption and fraud in California with the hospice stuff and all of this craziness? Like we could go another hour, but maybe I'll have that for a show tomorrow. Of the corruption, and then just in Minnesota and all of this stuff. So the money machine is slowing down. It's coming. Trump is tightening the reins on the money flow by stopping the money to the NGOs. No more middleman. We're cutting off the funds until you give us your rolls. Who's on Medicaid? Who's on SNAP? Finally, SCOTUS said, yeah, he can use IRS to track these people. So they're going to use the IRS to track these people. Apparently, guys, Biden just waved a magic wand and gave hundreds of thousands of people Social Security numbers. So we need to get those people because I think that was illegal. I think, and I don't know. Everybody's pissed. Like, what's happened to these people that use the Biden auto pin? I mean, we need to see more. We need to see some arrests being made and some more. I mean, I know Victor Davis I loved what he was saying, that this is a complete counterculture revolution. But I think some of us are getting impatient, and I know it takes time to do all this. He just appointed J.D. Vance in public, but you know they've been doing work prior to this. They said this guy was under investigation before he quit. So hopefully when he appointed J.D. Vance to be the fraud czar, and we're going to get to the bottom of this. And you have Duffy. He's been over there in California talking about hospice. I did have it in some stack of stuff, but we're not going to be able to get to his stuff today because we've gone a little late. But man, he's talking about the hospice, and they called it a 6-pack where they'd have and one person died. So these people can't hate you enough, and just robbing us blind. There he is, the Benedict Arnold. Now, this is really cool. Somebody did an AI parody. Said busted. But I can't play the music all the way through, but here you go. I'll do it every now and then. Now, I did speed it up. Guys, I get flagged, man. They'll strike me and what'd y'all think of that? That was awesome. Look. Doo-doo-doo. I love it. That was amazing. That's amazing. Look, Agent 47. That's such a good pick. That is such a good pick. I don't even know. Oh, Mission Impossible Mass rips off. What is this? Yeah, that's that. I'm going to put this link in the description, and I also saved to put, what's her name? Hatun, Tashs. I'm going to put that in the description so you can check out her channel, and check out this channel. This channel is called Mr. Reagan, but it is so cool. Let me turn this down. Turn that down. So you've got Little Marco. You have all the characters that's in Trump's cabinet. And check out the artwork is really great, and it tells a story. And I don't want to give anything away, but oh yeah, well there you go. That gives it away. He's the puppet master. Is look, Soros. Let me see. Let me back it up a little bit. Look, the puppet master. Let me move my thing. Barack Obama's the puppet master. Oh, look, there's Pelosi. The Green Witch. Who is the Green Witch? I think that's Hillary. Oh, that was AOC. There's George Soros. And look, there's all of them. This is really great. And this is Mega Man. And I think this is all of the different parts he did. It's compressed into one. It's 26 minutes long. But I'm going to put that in there, but it's so good. It's so well done. It's really good. I enjoyed it, and I loved the artwork. I loved how they did this, if you guys are interested in anything. Because it gives it that old 50s feel, that old 40s, 50s type of feel to it. So it's really cool. And it's interesting. It's interesting. Well, there you have it. Like, share, subscribe. Every day the learning never stops. Let me know what you think. And there you have it. There you go. Thank you for joining me.